can tell her, you can tell her anything. She's a real good listener. You can tell her anything.
Hey confidant, it's your girl Teresa. You're listening to You Can Tell Me Anything. This is the podcast where comedians confess something they've never told anyone before. It's very exciting. You guys know what it is. You're probably not here for the first time, but if you are, welcome. Have a seat. I'm very excited for our guest. He's super funny. He did the CBS Diversity Showcase, which was the first time I saw him. But then we met and became friends. It's Brett Maline. What's up?
What up? Thanks for having me. I'm stoked to be on your podcast. It's dope.
Yeah, that is where we met. But I actually don't know that we actually met there. You ever have that in comedy where you know someone before you actually know them?
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like I had that with you.
Yeah. Well, and it's like I knew, like, I mean, we share the same manager, and like, so James always brags about you, and I'm like, oh yeah, sweet James.
There is. Have you
Sweet
seen those
baby
billboards?
James.
It's not actually. There's a billboard. That's not our manager, but there's a billboard in LA with a guy that says Sweet James. It's like an insurance agent. But that's now when I see that, I just think of James because he doesn't look like him, but he kind of has like from far away like a similar
The same aura.
Yeah. No. I'm like, sorry, James, if you're listening to this. Our manager is a lot better looking than the Sweet James billboard, but
yes.
it's just funny because it says Sweet James and it's like, call this number for insurance. And that's what I think of. Anyways, that is how we met. Okay.
Well, at least we found out more about each other.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I like to start with a good confession, just to have a positive note. Is there something good you'd like to confess?
I am directing my very first sketch show, Aquaman. They just got to run at UCB.
Okay.
The first show's coming up this coming Thursday, so a week from tomorrow.
Okay.
Or whenever
so it will
you
have
release
had
this.
happened
Yes.
already.
It will have happened.
Oh wait,
and then they have a show.
Oh, okay, I see. Yes.
Yeah, and then they have a show in February and a show in March. Aquaman is the name of the show. Acutely Unaware. Aquaman Acutely Unaware. Two funny dudes. They've been working. There's this show at UCB called Sketch Showdown where you have to make a new 15 minutes of sketch every month, and then the audience votes. And if you win, you got to win to move on. And they've been winning for over a year now.
Oh wow!
And so they put together their best 30 minutes of sketch. Had me come on to kind of help direct and kind of get it all into shape. And they're killer, and they've been working their butts off. So yeah, I'm stoked to.
Oh, that's so cool! Congratulations!
Hey, thank you.
Yeah, I hope the show goes well.
Thank you.
It's funny because I did UCB in New York, but I don't really do it here now. But I'll still like feel like I'm UCB. But I'm like, I have like literally no ties to. I'm like not on a team. I'm like I didn't start here. I don't take class.
Everybody knows you though
at UCB.
Yes, everybody's like, "Oh, Teresa Lee, yeah, she does." Oh, yeah,
that's
seriously,
nice.
yeah.
It's because there's not enough Asian. No, that's not true. No, I do. I did start at UCB in New York in the sense that like that was like my comedy home. Yeah. So I do feel like that goes a long way, even if you're not in New York, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Does that make sense?
No, it does.
It feels like a home, even though I don't do improv.
Yeah. No, and I feel like there's so many there's a lot of people that, I feel like their main thing is stand-up, and they'll do, like, a few shows here and there at UCB, but the community, I love the UCB community for that reason.
Yeah, it is nice. There was a time when I feel like I was, like, out. I don't know if LA was like this. You started out here, right?
Yeah.
Like, in New York, when you're starting out and you're a student, there's, like, no pressure of, like, the industry in New York as much. It might be different now with the internet and everything, but it just felt like a thing you did. So you'd hang out all the time. Like you go to McManus and the bars and you're just like out till like 2, 3 a.m. after shows. And it was fun. Yeah. But I don't know if I got older or if that's a New York thing. Like did students in LA have that? Like just like a hang?
I think, what's crazy is that, Birds is definitely a thing, over by UCB Franklin. I think the big thing too is that there's no bar. Like they just now got beer at UCB Sunset. But there's no, like, the first time I went to...
like they sell it now?
Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
the first time I went to UCB in New York, like UCB East, when it was around, rest in peace.
R.I.P.
Yeah. But, like, I thought it was so dope that there was a bar connected. And, like, there was just people, the bar was packed. And then you walked into the show, and the show's packed. Like, I think that's awesome to be able to... Even when I.O. West was here, it was kind of the same thing.
Yeah,
you know
that's
what I mean?
right.
Like, it was just a place that you could go... have a beer, go see a show, bring a beer into the show. Like, like, I hate to say that drinking is like, makes people come together, but it does. It's like a
Yeah.
nice thing. Like, oh yeah, we'll go grab a beer before the show and then go into the show, or vice versa, grab a beer after the show and talk about the show.
Yeah, it's a hub. Yeah, I think as a town, LA, it's LA just full of New Yorkers who got sober. That's how it feels. I mean, that's because I feel like me and my friends, I'm like very biased in that sense. It's like we drank so much in New York that when we move out here, we're just like, we're done with that. And we're very
That was my
square.
party days, and I'm done with partying.
I had someone tell me that I was a square, but not like in a mean way, but in like this is how you are. And he's only known me since I've been in LA, and I'm like,
okay.
oh wow, okay, that's how I am now.
You don't know the party side.
I'm a square. I don't hate it. Well, Brett, this podcast is sort of loosely inspired by like therapy and like sort of talking things out. Do you go to therapy, or do you have like, what's your relationship with like therapy?
You know what? I don't, and I wish it's
That's okay.
honestly it's a money thing.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, so I'm from small town Nebraska.
Oh, where are you from? Nebraska.
Yes,
Okay.
small town, like surrounded by cornfields. Like I worked on a farm in high school.
Oh wow.
And I was with my friend today, who she's also from Nebraska, and it's I don't want to speak for all Nebraska families, but her and I's families, it's kind of a thing where it's like it's not a thing to go to therapy.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's less common, and it's like you kind of don't, if there's like an issue, like it's like it happens, and then like maybe the next day it's like over with, and you're just like, yep, we're not going to talk about it. We're just going to move on.
Buried under the rug. Or you
Yes,
just go out and
buried
tell it to
under-
the corn.
Yes, exactly. And that's like kind of a weird thing in our family. Like it's like, like when we go home for holidays, like there's like an argument like the night before, like when you're, out on the patio drinking and you get in an argument,
Yeah.
you just don't talk about it the next day and you move on. And it's like I didn't realize like how, different that was until I came out to LA. And like a lot of like therapy is a very normal thing. I dated this woman and it was funny. She's like talking about therapy and she's like, well, who do you go to? And I was like, oh, I don't. And she's like,
That's a weird question though, because
Well,
it should
it was-
be private, right?
well, it was like, I can't remember like what the exact, it was a very, like, I didn't throw me off as like, ooh, but I was like, well, actually I don't. And she's like, was very like, whoa, like that's crazy. You don't go to therapy. And I was like, yeah, you're probably right. But it's a money thing. Like I don't like my health insurance is like, doesn't pay for that kind of thing. And
It is. I think you're right about how different people in LA view it, because I think that's also like the opposite spectrum, right? Like I don't think anybody should judge anybody for going or not going, but I think it's good to know that it's an option.
Yeah,
for sure. I love it, but I also grew up in a family that didn't really do therapy, and in fact, my mom was like opposed to it, but she wasn't exposed to it, so she had the same like stereotypes of therapy that we got from like 90s TV, right? It's like, oh, you need therapy.
The Sopranos. I just started watching The Sopranos, and it's like a huge thing in that show.
It was a huge thing. I remember watching movies where it was like a joke when the like annoying friend that'd be like, my therapist said, that's like a trope.
Yes.
Which is I'm now that friend, but but I think once I moved to New York and everybody goes to therapy and they're most proud of it, that helped me get into it. And then now I, of course, like tell people they should go if they've never gone. But I think it's not, you don't have to. It's not, I feel like you shouldn't judge anyone for going or not going.
Yeah.
That's my stance on it. But, yeah. So you grew up in Nebraska. When did you move to LA?
It would have been like 7 years ago.
Okay. Did you come out here for comedy?
You know what's okay? So I'll
give
try
me
to tell
life
this long story. Yeah. So I went to chase my dream. No, I'm kidding. Out of high school, I joined this performing group that was based out of Corona, which is like Inland Empire.
Okay.
But they sell it. The performing group is like, come out to LA, but it's not LA at all. But so I like kind of.
Is it the beer Corona? No, that's Mexico.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's known for like that's where the Fender Guitar Studio is, and so yeah, it was like not like literally an hour and a half outside of LA.
Oh,
like
wow.
Inland Empire.
That's far, yeah.
And so, studied.
Wait, so there was just a comedy group out there?
No,
like,
it wasn't even, it was like Broadway based performing.
Oh, what?
Like
So
Broadway
there's a whole
review
theater
shows.
out there?
Well, it's so like there was just a big rehearsal studio.
Oh.
Like they actually
Whoa.
called it the warehouse.
Whoa.
Is what they called it. And so like kids would come from all over the country who were like, I mean, when I got out here, I was like, oh my God, what the fuck am I doing? Because literally kids, like these kids would come who've been like dancing their whole lives or like, and go to these private performance high schools and are like classically trained. Like one of my good buddies now, when he was like, he wrote a musical in high school.
Whoa.
And I'm like, I was in show choir, like just like totally out of my league, but you know, it's wild. But anyway,
That's so cool.
Yeah, so anyway, but I was in this performing group. I toured around the world with them for a few years, and then I was in a band and like
Wait, toured around the world?
Yeah.
I like how you just like slid by that.
Well,
like that's cool.
Well, it was.
You're like, I came to LA. I don't know. It was so weird. I toured around the world. It sounds like you're doing a really cool thing.
It was fun. It was very fun, and like met a lot of wonderful people, and like who were like some of my best friends now for sure. And so it was awesome. And then I got out of that and like was in a band for a few years. And when I was doing that, I was in Long Beach. And then we like went on a few tours, and like we got super lucky, met producers right away. It was like Cinderella story of like meeting a producer at a restaurant and all this, you know, and like it was awesome though. So toured with the band for a few years, and then went back to Nebraska because like left the band, like didn't know what I wanted to do. Back to Nebraska, lived in my parents' basement. I was 26, working 2 serving jobs. Like, what am I doing? And then ended up coming back out.
So you were doing what you would have, the very LA thing in Nebraska. Like it's flipped. You came to LA, lived the dream, went to Nebraska, did the LA
worked
thing.
2 serving jobs. Yeah, exactly. And then and then I was like, all right, I want to do like I always wanted to go and do comedy, but I just like these other things were like, yeah, I'm gonna go do this, you know. And so moved back out to LA, and that was 7 years ago. And like actually moved to LA as opposed to Long Beach, or like, and was like, all right, I'm gonna pursue comedy. I'm gonna live in LA, and I'm gonna do the thing.
That's so cool. I mean, it's nice. Like I feel like a lot of times people think like it's gonna be an overnight thing where you're like, I'm gonna just do it all at once. But it's almost nice that you had these like mini experiences before around LA.
Yeah.
Because it kind of builds this bridge.
Yeah.
And then you can like jump in this time with like all complete focus, and you're not worried about like, you know, the area sort of, you know, like so I think that does make a big difference.
Yeah, and like especially with the band.
What did you play?
Guitar and sing.
Okay, cool,
Yeah.
cool.
It was a great experience. Like, and the 3 dudes in the band are like my best. They're like my brothers. Like, I love them. Yeah.
That's so nice.
But yeah, in the band, you know, because there's some shitty parts about the entertainment business, and like it's the same thing.
I don't follow. No.
I have not run into any shitty parts. It's all been great.
It's been so wonderful.
But yeah, like just it sucks, but there's so many people that are making a living off of people trying to make a living. And like even with music, there was like the BS showcases and the like, you know what I mean? Like people coming up after shows and like, oh, I can get you this gig, you know, if you do this, and like, so like when it was wild. Like when I started pursuing comedy and acting and whatnot, same kind of stuff. And it was like, whoa, I know not to do that, you know, because like I did that with the band and it was like total BS. And now I know, you know, so it was like a lot of great lessons that I learned while being in the band that I didn't know would come in handy. Like,
oh yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, my sister's a musician, and I remember going to a show with her once. Like, same vein as comedy. Like early on, you're just doing these shows, but they're at a cool venue, but they're like bringer shows. Ugh. But in comedy, bringer shows are a big no-no. But in music, I think a lot of them have to be.
Yeah.
But I realized like music bringer shows, it was like she has to like, hit like 20 people, whereas like comedy, because there's a bunch of people in the lineup, you still shouldn't do bringer shows, but it's usually like bring 5 people. Yeah. And I was like, I can't imagine being a musician and having to do a bringer show of like bringing 20 people to like I don't know. I guess it is a catch-22 because ideally you should be playing shows for more people, but I guess the conceit is that you're at a cool venue, there should be an audience, right?
Exactly.
I don't know.
To give and LA is the worst. It is to be if you're listening to this and you're trying to come up in LA as a musician, get out because it is the worst. Unfortunately, there's like no music up and coming music scene. There was for a little bit with like Silver Sun Pickups in Silver Lake, but like that was like years ago. Like Highland Park has got like a very fleggling scene.
There's kind of those little
but even still, like it's all bringer shows. When I was like back, this is like clear back in like 2010. When I was in the band, we played at Whiskey Go Go. We brought like 80 people and got paid, who all paid like $10 to $15 at the door. We got paid $60.
What?
That is like
how is that even? So they just like take a big cut.
It's promote, and I was like, and the promoter gave us money, and I was like, we brought like 80 people, and he's like, yeah, but you were the headliner, and you were supposed to bring 100. And he's like, you're lucky I'm even getting. Or he's like, you're lucky I'm even giving you money. And I was like, we will never be back here again.
Gross. It's like, what they should just, I just want for once, like the promoters to have to do their own show. Cause they always like pressure you. Cause it happens in comedy where they like will yell at you and pressure new comedians and they don't know any better, but they're like yelling at you for not bringing people. And it's like, that's your job.
Yeah.
You're the producer. You're the promoter. Like,
Yes.
just once I want a show where it's just all promoters being like, well, like, what are they? You know what I mean?
Where's the
like,
people
where's the
at?
show without the performers?
Yeah.
Anyways. Well, Brett, is there anything you would like to tell me?
So
You got
this
so
is-
serious. Wow.
I did not told a lot of people this. When I was a kid, I'd be laying in bed at night and I would pick my nose
Okay.
and get and I would put boogers on the wall
Okay.
beside my bed
Uh-huh.
and like would not wipe them. So like if you
just
looked
stuck
in the
them there.
daytime, you could see all of these boogers. And my mom's like, stop doing that. and I still would do it. She's like, you're going to clean the boogers off. And even after I would clean the boogers off, I would continue to do it.
But how old are you?
I did it for like years.
Uh-huh.
Like and it blows my mind. If I was my mom and dad, I would be like, what the
Move the
fuck
bed.
is
No.
wrong with our kid? Like, I don't even know my psyche. Like, I don't know what I was thinking.
You know, okay, so it's very funny to hear that, but also hearing it at the same time, I'm like, it sounds normal, but it is funny. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things where you're like, sounds like a thing a kid would do. Like,
Yeah.
I bet you that's not that uncommon. I bet you.
You
But
think?
I bet people don't talk about it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like how, like, yeah, I don't know. Like, it's just like, you know, I used to like pick my wedgies and then like smell my hand, you know, as a kid. That sounds really gross. But when you're a kid,
Yeah,
you're like,
yeah.
what? And then eventually you're like, don't do, you know, you're like, don't do that.
Yeah.
Did I just confess something weird? I don't know. I feel like mine was weirder than yours.
I remember.
But do you know
we
what
would
I
all-
mean?
oh,
There's
yeah,
these
yeah.
kid things. But okay.
I think everyone's picked their butt and smelled it. That's a very I've definitely done that. You know what I mean? It's like it's a
did
weird
it just
smell.
No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so but the more interesting thing to me is the part where you were told not to do it and then you couldn't stop doing it. That's very funny to me. Because was it like, did you enjoy doing that, or what was it about that?
You know, there's something, and even to this day, I do not like the sensation of having boogers in my nose.
Okay,
So like when I feel it, I'm like, I gotta get this thing out.
but
Right.
what about a Kleenex?
Yeah, exactly. Well, you think, and my mom even put a Kleenex by it. It's like, I could not be bothered with it because it was something about,
You're like, I wanna
the oral
save the
fixation
trees.
of like getting in there and having, using my nail
Sure.
to really get the whole thing out. Because like it's tough with a Kleenex. You don't have the feel.
No, I
You
mean,
don't
but
have
once it comes out,
the finesse.
why not put it on a Kleenex?
Oh, I know exactly. What is my crazy kid brain thinking? Plus, the worst thing was I had a twin sister, who was like in the room as
Have
well.
we talked
so-
about twins?
Oh, yeah, I think
Oh, we did. Okay, I
maybe
think we did.
Yeah, because you're
I
a
think
twin.
we did. Yeah, I'm a twin. Yeah.
Kindred spirits, twin thing. Wait, are you a Gemini? No.
No. Are you a Gemini?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm a Scorpio. Are you older or younger?
I'm younger.
Okay, I'm
2
older.
minutes younger.
2 minutes older.
What?
No way! Oh my god. We just high fived. That's so interesting. Now I'm so okay. Wait. So you had a twin
I
sister.
threw you with the twin.
Yeah. Did she know this? Was this a secret you kept from her?
No,
or
no, no. She knew it. I mean, like I said, in the day, in broad daylight, you could see the boogers. Like my mom would have to go in, like when she had people, when they were having people over, my mom would go in and get a warm washcloth and wipe it off, and she'd be like, "Stop putting boogers on the wall."
Oh my goodness.
It was like a I don't know. It was like a weird thing. Like, oh,
It was like
that
a
one's bigger than that
Picasso. Maybe
one,
you
or-
were doing art.
Maybe
It's
I
like
don't-
those glow in the dark stars. We used to have them on my ceiling. Like
Yeah.
they're green and they glow in the dark,
Yeah.
but you were just putting it on the wall with your boogers.
And like the other thing is like, okay, well, at least I didn't eat them. At least I didn't put them in my bed. But I think it too is just like I'm tired. You know, it's like half asleep, so I'm like tired and it's like this. You know what I mean?
And then you
Like,
just wipe it on the
wipe
wall.
it, and you can get most of it off your finger, and you don't have to worry about
Did it not bother you? Because it bothered you that it was in your nose.
Yes.
But did it not bother you that it was like a few feet away from where you were sleeping?
Yeah. No. I don't. Apparently not. I. Just very comfortable sleeping beside the booger wall.
The
You know.
booger wall. I just imagine your mom running in the door, like as you're going, she tucks you in and then turns off the lights and then you're picking your nose. She's like, aha!
Yeah.
Like, opening the door, like, no! No boogers.
Yeah. I mean, they're flying in tomorrow to come visit, and I want to ask her, I'd be like, when did I stop doing that, and how did you get me to stop? I feel like she probably was like, had to be like, if you do this, you don't get this, I'm sure. And I was like, okay, but like, it was weird. I did it for a long time.
It's so innocent, though, I think, as a kid, because it is, like, funny as an adult, because, like, we're like, that's not hygienic.
Yeah.
But there's nothing, like, but then, of course, kids make fun of boogers and, gross, like, unhygienic things without realizing they have an aversion because, it's like a hygienic thing.
Yeah.
But I think it's, like, very innocent, too, because there's not so much shame when you're a kid, right? Like, It's so... I don't know. There's something like, it's like once you know that you're not supposed to, it's like, okay, but I don't know. It feels like very innocent. It's like you didn't know, like you weren't doing this to be rebellious.
No, I don't even what went through my head where it's like, I have a booger. Where can I put this? Oh,
on
boom,
the wall.
Well, and the other thing too, which like I'm sure my mom, maybe she thought about, but maybe she didn't, was moving my bed. Mm-hmm. To
did she ever?
A different area of the room. Maybe she didn't. I can't remember. Maybe she threatened to move my bed. But like I think that's the other thing is because like it was up against the wall, and so I literally, I'd be laying down. I literally didn't have to move, and I could just go.
I'm so immature, but that is so funny. It's a visual.
It's gross.
But it's gross. But it's not. It's funny. I don't know. Am I immature?
It's very
I
funny.
think it's very
No,
funny.
It's very funny.
It's Did you ever get to a point where you felt like shame? Like I feel like, when you start hanging out with friends or going to sleepovers or things like that, like was it ever a moment where you're like, oh, the booger wall, like, or you just kind of just faded out on its own?
Well, if I had sleepovers, it was downstairs. So like friends didn't see the booger wall. and yeah, oddly, it was like, I wasn't embarrassed. Like, again, my mom was like, don't do it. And I kept doing it, it's just like, I don't know if I was just that lazy when I was, but I do remember there was something about a Kleenex that I just, I don't know what it was. It was like this, I don't know if it was an oral fixation or like a weird.
I thought oral fixation. I'm like, I don't know if I know what oral fixation is. I thought it's like when babies need a like
or what's like
chew on
smoking
something?
cigarette. Yeah. Or like
that might be. You might be right.
Cigarettes. It's like
just the habit of
motion. Of like doing that. Yeah. Is that maybe I'm using oral fixation wrong?
No, you might be right. I thought it was specific to the mouth, like having to like how it came. I think it's something like babies.
It is. Oral. You're right. Oral.
But like babies who like are nursing for a long time and still need to like have some.
Yes.
That's what I thought it was.
Yes. No, you're right.
I might be wrong.
No, I think you're right. That would make sense. Oral.
But I get what you mean. It's the habit of the motion or the
the muscle memory.
Muscle memory. Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But like so weird. I mean, and also, I don't know. I think a lot of that, like when I was a kid, there was a lot of that. Like, I mean, I sucked my thumb.
I sucked my thumb too. My mom put a sock on my hand.
Really? Mm-hmm. My mom would put mentholatum
Whoa.
on my hand. So I'd be like, and then finally, like, I quit sucking my thumb.
Yeah. Just like a smoker baby, be like, I gotta quit. I gotta quit my thumb. That's so funny. I was the same way, and I would have dreams about like I remember a specific dream about eating a plum, and then I woke up and I was sucking on my thumb. So my dreams were related to like eating things.
Okay, wait, you would only start sucking your thumb in your dreams? Or like when you were trying to stop sucking your thumb, you would have dreams and then you'd wake up sucking your thumb?
No, I would suck my thumb like nightly, but then I would have dreams where when I would wake up, it'd usually be like, that transition where you wake up and you realize that the thing you were dreaming about is actually happening?
Yeah.
I would wake up and realize I was sucking my thumb, but in my dream I was like eating a plum.
Yeah.
So I had dreams about like eating things. So I don't know. Maybe I was just a really hungry baby.
Yeah.
And I just wasn't getting fed enough.
I love the specificity of a plum.
Yeah.
Even as a baby or as a kid, like a plum.
We had a plum tree in our backyard.
Wow.
So I as very young age I was very aware of plums as a fruit. I don't know. It's not a common fruit.
You're a plum. It isn't.
I don't see it around a lot now. As a kid, I had an oversaturated exposure to plums, I would say.
It's a big influence on my comedy.
Yeah. My last name in Chinese is actually the word for plum.
Oh, really? That's dope.
So maybe there's some sort of subconscious connection there. I don't know.
Yeah, that's funny.
So, and you weren't self-conscious. You weren't embarrassed. which I think is very positive, and that's good because I feel like I grew up with a lot of shame, and the thumbs and all I had a blanket, and I still had the blanket.
My twin sister. You still have a blanket?
Not now, but I had it until I basically went to college, and then I made a conscious decision to be like, I'm not gonna pack this. That's too much. I should have gotten rid of this a long time ago. But
Was it hard for you to fall asleep without it though?
It became like a habit, like you're saying. Like I think by that point I had spent nights without it, sleepovers and stuff, and it was fine. So I didn't have that like attachment and like a insecure attachment anymore. Like it wasn't like I would panic, but out of habit, if given the choice, I'd prefer to have it.
My twin sister still.
Really?
Oh yeah. And like her, boyfriends and like all like from junior high, like she would, they knew like she would bring the blanket with her.
Really? So she's like going to sleepover. So she could bring on a first date, like, oh, if the blanket's here, it means I might be spending the night.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, literally, she has this, and she had this one. She's a weirdo. She like had this one.
I don't know what the booger thing is pretty weird, bro.
Yeah,
no.
yeah.
No.
Pac,
Okay.
yeah, Pac on
weird. Yeah, weird is good.
But she like had this one spot on the blanket that she would like get between her fingers, and she would like suck her tongue and rub this one spot on the blanket to fall asleep. Like the funniest. And then now she has a little baby girl who is the exact same way. It's hilarious.
Really?
Oh,
Whoa.
Yeah.
I wonder if that has to be like like attachment, genetics, something like that. Because if you pass that on, that's interesting. I have attachment. I've talked about this on the pod before, but I have a lot of attachment to like objects, like clothes and stuff. And I wonder if I didn't even think about that till just now, but I wonder if it comes from my blanket attachment.
It could.
Because it's like a piece of fabric, you know?
I mean, there was one, I distinctly remember, it was like a very traumatic thing where like my dad was like trying to take the blanket. Like he's like, you're not going to have it. And Brooke was like bawling. And she like had it in her hands. And my dad like took the blanket and it ripped. And my sister was like,
oh no.
Yeah, and so then she just like went and like got a new blanket from the same like texture. Like
it's like a movie moment.
Yeah, seriously.
Rips the baby.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you have like object attachment or like tokens like that?
I had a little Peter Rabbit that when I have Klippel-Feil syndrome, which is a severe form of scoliosis. I was born with it, and when I was like in second and third grade, I had surgeries, and in my first surgery, my grandma gave me this little rabbit called Peter Rabbit that had like a little guardian angel pin on the ear. So for a little while, like I would sleep with that. Like I slept with it in the hospital, and then like afterwards I slept with it, and then I think eventually I just outgrew it. But yeah, I think that's that. And then like I mean, there's like clothes. Like I had this bright green T-shirt when I was a little kid that said "Gotcha."
Okay.
It was like I think it was the brand, like Gotcha brand or something like that. And my mom said that I like wanted to wear it every day.
Really?
Yeah. So like I would have these like different pieces of clothing, even when I was like in 5th and 6th grade.
Green, because then you can put the boogers on it.
That's right. Books blends in, there's something about green, So yeah, I mean, there was like pieces of clothing that I like would grow attached to and just love to wear over and over again.
Did you believe that your toys could come to life? I've had this discussion as an adult with my colleagues at work, and I haven't had this discussion since I was, because like I feel like we all grew up in the Toy Story era, but like it's so interesting, like hearing now as an adult, like I feel like a lot of very creative, comedians and writers had similar childhoods. I don't know that it's everybody's, but for sure there's probably a high rate of people who made their toys talk in comedy. Did you like ever like, but like when you watch Toy Story, did you do that with your toys?
Honestly, I never did, but I definitely had to. When I had stuffed animals in my room, I did not have them looking at me when I was in bed. I couldn't, you know what I mean? Like it was weird. I would like
out of fear or
I just like
modesty,
didn't like to.
or?
Well, it was just like I was very modest about my body. It was weird. It was like because one night I like woke up and like there was this one like tiger I had that like had like that I got from a carnival or whatever that had like the glassy eyes.
Oh
and I don't know. It was like the moon was shining in my window and it like reflected, and so it was like the eyes were shining, and I was like,
oh no, scary.
So in the morning, then I like turned all of the just slightly away, just so that no eyes were looking at me.
I feel like that's wise. It's so silly, but
That's
it's
wise.
true. I mean, I have that now. I'll like fall asleep and wake up like half asleep. Like I have a light. I mean, you can see it, but for people who can't, there's a light that hangs over my bed, and I've at times woken up and been like, it's a monster. Like it's like something's over me.
Over you? Yeah.
So I feel like even as an adult, I have that. But definitely the eyes. Was so weirded out by dolls.
Yeah.
Like I can't sleep in a room of dolls. I just can't. If there's a doll in the room, I can't fall asleep.
So wait, did you not have dolls growing up?
I had some dolls. I had Barbie dolls, but I never had those kind of scary Victorian dolls.
Yeah. Or like and both my sisters had American dolls.
Oh, I wanted one so bad. I wanted Samantha.
Oh yeah.
And instead of Samantha, I got the book set of Samantha. And it wasn't even like the books. Like it was like the ones where like the special ones where it's like crafts and stuff. So I was like, I can't even read. There's no story here. I mean, to be fair, American dolls are very expensive, and it's crazy how they marketed it because
Insane.
they're so expensive.
They're still insane.
Yeah.
I was with my nieces, and like I was like, we went to this American Doll store, and like I bought them. I'm like, I can't buy you. I'm like, I love you. I love you. I can't buy you guys dolls. It's like way too expensive. So I'm like, so you can
But I
pick
can
out.
cause a distraction, and you can steal it. No.
Yeah. So they picked out like a little like purse.
Aw.
This little tiny purse was like $20.
Yeah, damn.
A little doll purse. I'm like, what the?
Is there anything sadder than buying accessories for a doll you don't have? No.
Yeah. Literally
Like
like
one day, I'll have the doll.
I'm gonna be so prepared when I have the doll.
Yeah, and I don't know. I don't remember when I first started getting scared of dolls. I definitely remember watching an X-Files episode about a doll, and it was terrifying. And I've heard since that it was one of the scarier episodes, but it was like the only one it was like the first X-Files I ever saw. Terrified me. And I'm pretty sure right after that, I never liked dolls again. But I don't remember if I was already scared of dolls. I did used to get scared that my toys would like I think all my toys I loved, but I had this weird thing where it's like, I don't want them to know I'm afraid of them. Is that weird? In a way, I feel like now knowing what I know as an adult of like how I was with my parents, I'm like, this makes total sense. But as a kid, I was like, I love my toys. And if I treat them with love, they'll love me back and they won't hurt me. But just in case, I better be good. Like it was this weird, fearful love.
Yeah.
Like I was afraid that if they wanted to kill me, they could kill me.
So it's like a dark Elf on the Shelf.
Yes,
Year-round Elf on the Shelf.
Because the normal thing to do if you're afraid of toys killing you is throw them out. But
Yes.
then I was so afraid that I didn't want them to know I was afraid of them because I
Yeah.
thought that would make it worse.
Right. If you threw them out, they would somehow find you. Did you feel that
it
way?
would be worse. You kind
Or
of.
it's like karma, where like your new toys would find out about them.
Oh my god! Now you're freaking me out. No, no. I think it's so funny that I am saying this out loud as a dumb thing, but as I'm saying this, I'm like, oh my god, I'm having a breakthrough. No, it literally is. I think how I felt about my mom. I mean, I love my mom and whatever. It's a complicated relationship, but there was a lot of stuff where I think I was like afraid, but it didn't know that I was afraid. So I think now I realize, oh, that's for sure just mirroring this relationship, like wanting to maintain this illusion of like everything's good. This is how it should be.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't want to admit that like my toys could kill me.
Right.
Not that my mom was trying to kill me. You guys
No,
know.
but
I think
you wanted like, hey
can
mom,
follow.
I'm good. Everything's good.
Yes. Yeah.
We're all good over here. You keep doing your thing. I'll do. Yeah.
Yeah, because if I was like, I'm afraid of you, then
Yeah.
I'm like, what if she gets mad? And what if that like breaks this illusion that like everything's good? Yeah.
I feel that.
Crazy. Oh my gosh. Wow. Brett, I feel like you're the therapist right now.
It's wushu. Wushu?
Wushu, yeah.
Okay.
It's
Chilling now.
He
Chilling on
is
the
chilling
bed.
now, yeah. You just have to ignore him and then he'll fall into place. So your twin sister and are you guys is she also creative? Like does she do comedy stuff?
Well, this is wild. We owned together a clogging studio in high school.
What is your life?
I
like,
know, it's very weird. Yeah, clogging's like it's a type of tap dance. It's like it's big in the South. But my older sister Heidi was in this called Heartland Hoedowners in Nebraska, and she like they like went to all these competitions around the country, and then Brooke. And then when we moved 3 hours west, because we used to live in Omaha, then we moved 3 hours west to the small town Minden. Heidi had started a studio there, and then when Heidi graduated, Brooke took it over, and my mom made me take from Heidi, and I hated it. Like I was such
as
a
her
dick.
teacher?
I would like, I was in 6th grade, and like I'd be like taking the class, and if I couldn't get like one of the routines she was teaching, I would just walk out of the class. I'd get mad at her, and be like, whatever, and I'd just walk out of the class. Like I was such a little dick. But
it's hard because it's your family, so it's like
Yes.
sometimes you like it makes it feel more personal when you're not getting it.
Yes. Oh yeah. Yeah. It still blows my mind that I would do that though. Like so dramatic, but it's just me being stubborn. But then Brooke took it over, and then she blew out her knee, and so she needed somebody to teach, and so that's what I came on, and then we ended up like just co-running it the last 2 years of her high school.
Wow.
And
While
then,
in high school.
yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah, it was nuts. It was not your average like way to make money, I guess, as
Do
a
you
side job.
remember
in high school.
earlier in this podcast when you were like, wow, there's people who wrote musicals in high school, but you owned a clocking studio in high school. I mean, that's pretty unique.
It is very.
You were like running a business. Businesses have more stakes.
Yes.
Than
Well,
musicals.
and I will say, Brooke was the businesswoman.
Okay.
She handled all the money, like took care, scheduled everything, and like I literally could just walk in and like just choreograph stuff and teach the kids. So Brooke, she was the very responsible one of the two of us. Still
That's
is.
so crazy and
Yeah.
cool that
Yeah.
you did that.
Oh,
I
thanks.
feel like you have so many hidden lives.
I do, honestly. It's wild. But
So performing has always been in your blood.
I mean, it's weird because I feel like Brooke and I, like, Brooke, all 3 kids danced, sort of, but like, I don't know, my mom and dad didn't really perform, and like nobody else in our family, like my mom's mom is kind of musical, but like other than that, there's no performers, so I don't know, it's weird. I don't know why. I think I was just like an outgoing little kid, and so my mom and dad just go perform, and like I just like to show off, and so I think that's, I don't know, it's weird.
Yeah.
Just kind of, I'm the black sheep of the family in that regard, I guess, because everybody else in my immediate family is either, most of them are teachers, and then my older sister's in sales, but yeah.
Oh,
I'm
gotcha.
like,
But as kids, it sounded like you guys were all doing
as
a lot.
kids, we
So
like
that
to perform.
fostered like this excitement for performing, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
That's really
and like,
cool.
then I wanted to like go do it more instead of going like to college. Like my other, siblings and my mom and dad were like, "What?" But it's been good.
You're like, okay, if you stop putting boogers on the wall, you can do comedy.
Yes. And I was like, fine. Yeah, that's what got me to stop. Yeah, when they let me go to California, they're like, I'm like, all right, I'll stop doing boogers.
But it's funny the nose thing. I was like, when you said this, I was like, I don't know if it's this too weird to say, but I'm gonna say it in the spirit of being honest, because we were talking about like wanting to get stuff out of your nose. I did have that compulsion with my nose too. Like, and I remember, I think it's because I had allergies, but I didn't know them. I didn't know my allergies till I was like 26 or something. So I lived a long time. Like sometimes I just have flare-ups and not know why. But anyways, all that being said is like sometimes my nose would have boogers as a kid, and I would get obsessed with like, I remember like being obsessed with wishing. Like, do you know when you're like a kid, you're like wishing on a star, wishing on.
Yeah.
So I remember just like wishing that my nose would be like booger free. Like that, it was like to that point where I was like, I would just love for my nose to have no boogers. And I remember just like one day life will be better when I figure out how to not have boogers. So I think that's like, I guess this is just to say like, I feel like it's not, I feel like it manifests in different ways, but I feel like that must be more common than we think. Like kids, if you and I like never talked about this and we both have this thing, like I feel like it must be more common to just be like, I don't want things in my nose.
Yeah. Well, and it's like, when someone has a bat in the cave and you're talking to them, it's like, you want to listen to what they're saying, but all you can think about is the goddamn bat in the cave. Like, that's how I feel. I'm like, oh my God. Like, my close friends will be like, dude, I'm sorry. I got to stop you. You got a fucking bat in the cave. We got to get that out. Like, I'm not afraid to, like, they're like, oh, thanks, man.
Like, I'll pick
like,
my nose. Yeah.
Like, and my buddy, he's got bat allergies, and, like, he always, I'm like, dude, you got a fucking bat in the cave, man. Like, I don't know. Just, like, I want to, like, I'm always, like, maybe overly self-conscious about, like, I don't know, and maybe I have sensitive nostrils.
Do you like have a good sense of smell?
You know what? Honestly, I think I do.
Me
and
too.
People, I tell you what.
Are we twins?
Yeah, long lost twins. Like people make fun of me because they're like, here, try. If we're like eating food or whatever, they're like, here, try this. I will always be like. I will always sniff it. And they're like,
first.
what? You're like a dog. Like, I always, like, will sniff stuff. But I don't know. I'm big on like even like I don't know. I will always smell if there's like a weird or like sometimes you're like smells like something's burning.
Yes.
I'm always like the first person.
Me
to be
too.
Like, yeah.
That's wild. Yeah, there must be a correlation. I mean, this is totally pseudoscience and it could totally not be true at all. But I've always had that too, a strong sense of smell to the point where like if we're walking somewhere with friends, I'll like smell the thing first for like a block or so. That or like even if there's like a food truck, I'll be like, I smell barbecue, and then nobody does, and then 2 blocks later, people are like, oh, I smell barbecue. So I'm like, okay, so I just smelled it before you.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
I did read, and this is for sure pseudoscience. I was doing a lot of reading about psychics. Don't ask why. And I did read that that's a sign of psychic powers, but I don't really believe that.
Okay, well, smelling, I could kind of, you know, like it's a heightened sense.
Yeah, you're in tune with your surroundings.
Yeah.
But
my eyesight, though, on the other hand, like you're saying, like, oh, you smell it, like I'm the same way. I'll smell something before anyone else will, and people were like, I don't even ever listen. Like, you smell like in my apartment all the time. I'm like, why does it smell weird? My roommate's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, something fucking smells weird.
Yeah.
And they're like, I don't smell it. I'm like, you guys, something smells weird. And then I'll like sniff around the room. I'm like, okay, yeah, it's like it's our disposal or whatever. You know what I mean? It's weird. But with seeing things, I hunt. I'm a Nebraska guy, okay? So I like in high school we would like go goose hunting. I didn't hunt deer or anything, just goose.
Oh, okay.
Geese and quail and things that there's a lot of. But
geese are mean.
Geese are very mean, honestly. But yeah, my buddy he could see like for miles. Like he'd be like, all right, there's a flock coming in. You guys are gonna see him in like 3 minutes. And we're like, fuck off. And then sure enough, here comes this flock. And I'm like, God damn, dude. Like, I could not believe, like, I wish I had that because my eyes are horrible.
But I feel like eyesight we're always on our phone anyways. The smell is probably more useful because you're not going to be like, unless, I guess, drive. I don't know. I'm trying to think because, like, smelling, I've literally smelled things like in apartments and things like that. Where you found that, like I've found, like, this is way back in New York, so I don't live in a place like this now, but I smelled like a dead rat, and nobody smelled it for like at least a week went by where I was like, there's something, and nobody believed me, and then finally my roommate moved like an AC, and there was a dead rat, and I was like, I knew it, that's what I was smelling, and it took so long for people to even notice something, and I was like, from the very beginning, I was like, something's going on. I thought it was like food that had gone bad, and I like took everything out of the pantry. So I feel like that's more useful. You're not gonna see, like, I mean, if there's a dead rat, you're gonna see it or you're not. I feel like it's not gonna be like that far away.
You know what? I will agree with you. In my apartment complex, I won't say where I live because I don't.
Okay.
It's a nice spot. It's a nice little, like, I'm in the smallest room. Like, that's the only way I could live there. I'm like, anyway. I walk out of my apartment.
I think it's very nice because you're like talking like how very wealthy people, like when super uber wealthy people go like, oh, when you're like, are you rich? You're like, oh, we had enough, and you're like, okay.
And they get like higher pitched.
Like, yeah, we were fine. We were fine.
And it gets very vague.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's like a,
very modest is what I mean.
It's a nice spot.
Okay, sorry, I interrupted you.
No, you're fine. Yeah, so I walk out of my apartment building, and again, I'm like, something smells weird. And it's not like it's not the trash. It's not, and I'm like, something is off. And like, then like I come back like a few hours later, and it's like getting a little bit worse. And I'm like, I think that there's, and so I text.
What was it, like rancid or like what kind of thing?
It was like something had died.
Okay.
Yeah. And I text our landlord. I'm like, yo, something is wrong on floor 2. I don't know what it is. It smells like something's dead. I don't know. And then as I went to go do my laundry, I walked by this one apartment. I'm like, it's definitely coming from there. And he texts me a day later and is like, thanks for letting us know a man passed away.
Oh, no.
And I'm like,
oh, my God.
And he'd been there for 2 weeks. I'm like,
oh, my God.
What? And I was because, like, my buildings, there's no manager there on site all the time because the owners of the building are cheap and they just pay a dude who lives there to be the manager, but he's not ever there. Like he lives his life and just like, you know, if something breaks down, you have to text him and then he fixes it 2 weeks later, whatever. But literally, I was like, that's insane that he was there for 2 freaking weeks. Oh my God. And I was like, if I wouldn't have smelled it.
Yeah.
And like gotten out of there.
He'd still be there.
He'd still be there.
That's
so,
crazy.
You know what? I don't apologize for picking my nose and putting in the boogers because
maybe that's why you have this super sense of smell.
I have super clean nose.
It's like you know, in those superhero origin stories when you do a thing. The book, it was a magic wall, and it gave you the gift of. I mean, first of all, also I'm very sad to that man who passed away.
Yes, very sad, very you know, and
but
you know,
also,
and it was funny because I mean, not funny, but like all of these people were like putting like lighting candles and like, and this one dude's like. He's like, are you? He's like, I am. He's like, are you? I can't remember what. It wasn't like praying. But he was like, for the good spirits or whatever. Like he was like, we need to be. He was like dead serious. He's like,
what?
Everyone on this floor needs to be doing that. We do not want like
haunted. Oh
we do not want this floor to be haunted. He was like dead serious too. I was like, oh yeah, for sure, man, for sure.
I never even thought about that. Yeah, like haunting. I guess because it's a shared space. You're like, oh no. What if he haunts us? Yeah. That's wild because when you started telling that story, I was like, it sounds like you're going to say a man died. But I was like, that's the like ridiculous version. So I was just like waiting for you to be like, and there was a skunk. Yeah. And then you're like, a man. I was like, oh my God. That's what I was like thought. But I was hoping that wasn't the case. Damn. Yeah. So you got to join some like detective unit.
I know. Honestly, it's like, yo, let's bring in our nose guy.
The nose guy.
Dude, no, we got to bring this guy in. He's on point.
Okay, I'm not vindicating. Is that the word? Absolution.
Yeah,
vindicating your booger story because I really feel like you wouldn't be who you are if it wasn't for wiping the boogers on the wall.
It's part of who I am. Yeah, I own it.
It cleared your nose for extraordinary things.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, clear your nose out, people. You never know what you're gonna smell.
You definitely. For sure, at least in your building, have the most extraordinary nose. Like you know that for a fact because you were the only person. To notice it.
That's my short story. The most extraordinary. Extraordinary nose.
How does it feel to be to be in the 1% of noses? Yeah. Pretty impressive. Well, thank you for sharing that story.
Yes,
I mean, I feel like I learned a lot about you and about myself.
You're such a good question asker. I mean, interviewer is a normal word to say.
I understood what you meant. I have a quick game. Do you want to play it?
I'm into it. I'm ready.
Okay, cool. So this is a game we played on this pod before, but basically it's Reddit confessions. Since this is a confessions themed podcast, there's a subreddit called r/confessions. I go in there and I find the not depressing ones because there's a lot of dark stuff on there, which you know you need a place to get it out. And
Reddit's the place.
I'm glad that you find solace in anonymous internet people. But there's some fun ones too. And so basically, I'm gonna read a confession with some blanks.
Okay.
I don't know what that was. Okay, there was a knock on. You guys can't even hear it, so now you think I'm just going crazy. There was a knock on the wall. So there's words blanked out. You know how this works. Multiple choice. Guess the answer, and I'll reveal.
Cool.
Okay, here's the first one. It's actually a confession from a personal trainer.
Okay.
I blank people's blank when they piss me off. Was it A, I steal people's towels, B, I tighten people's water bottles, or C, I draw people's portraits while they're working out?
I want to go with Titan water bottles.
You are correct.
Yes.
He tightens. I'm going to summarize because it's a long post.
Is it like a dude where he just roids out? And he's like,
yeah. I'm a personal trainer, and the slippery slope of passive aggressive behavior started in college. I worked at the university gym, and my coworkers could be really pretentious. I'd hear them talk shit about average Joes just trying to get in shape, or the typical shallow shit talking in general. So I'd patiently wait for them to walk away, or go to the bathroom. And then I would make my move, squeezing and tightening to a brief exhaustion. Sometimes I'd peel the skin off my hand. Basically, okay, so I'm not going to read the whole thing, but basically he just wanted to like make them feel weak. And he feels really bad in this. He basically ends up saying like, I know this reflects poorly on my character, knowing I mildly inconvenienced someone and they hadn't the slightest clue. I think I need counseling. But honestly, when I hear this, I say good job.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for standing up for us average Joes. Honestly, like maybe don't rip the skin off your hands. Take it. Like
too much aggression, I think.
Yeah, that's a lot of. Yeah, maybe get something out on the punching bag.
Yeah, but I do like the idea that it's like virtually a victimless crime. It's not like it's like so they'll have to work a little harder to open their water bottle, but you didn't. It's so like innocent how guilty this person feels. But you're also, it's like a punishment fits the crime. This person's bragging about being strong. Well,
you ain't that strong.
Yeah, that's right.
You can't open your water bottle. You better hit them weights. You better get them extra reps in.
Oh, man. Okay. So you got a point. All right. Yes. Number 2. When I was 7, I heard my parents moaning in their bedroom. And the next day when I asked them why they were moaning, they said it was because they blank. I believed them for years. A, ordered Chinese and the curry was so good. B, got 300 thread count blankets that were so comfortable. C, we're working on a really hard puzzle that was very satisfying to finish.
I'm going to go with puzzle. It was thread count.
Good guess, but it's actually A.
Really?
Yeah.
What? Oh my gosh.
This made me laugh. I know. I almost felt like that one was too silly and funny. That was gonna be obvious, but that's the one that's the right answer. This person says, "I'm now in my 20s and I'm I think asexual. Asexual, is that short for asexual? So I automatically assume innocent over sexual stuff as it is, anyways. But I always wonder what Chinese takeout place they ordered from because eating Chinese food never made me moan in pleasure. It's so sweet."
These sweeties on Reddit.
But also, like, what a weird lie.
That is very well, and also like, man, that must be a very normal thing that they just get Chinese takeout a bunch.
Why are they eating it in their room?
Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Like,
and
it
also
must have
Chinese curry. Curry's not Chinese, not typically. I mean, there's so many questions.
Yeah, like, and also, like they must get Chinese takeout a bunch for that to be normalized.
Right.
In there,
it's like this one was very good. Yeah. Anyways,
or maybe there was like a specific time where they like, oh, remember that one time we had Chinese curry? Remember, like we all like,
so
remember it was that same thing.
It's a code. Wow, man, that really messed you up for Chinese food. Okay, here's the last question. A girl who I've never spoken to before made my day by complimenting my blank. Was it A, socks, B, glasses, or C, wristwatch? So I told her I actually dreamed of making watches and that one day I would make a watch that was also a phone. This was back in 1980, mind you, and I was working as a cashier selling parts at a Roto-Rooter, and that girl was Steve Jobs.
I like how the third one's very written out.
All equally viable answers.
Dang, I have to say watches. I'm probably...
It's not watches.
Damn it! I knew. I shouldn't. It was the girl with Steve Jobs. I mean, that's very funny.
Yeah, thank you. The answer is A, socks. No, I thought it was gonna be too obvious, but you almost did reverse psychology there and went with I was trying to trick you with the easy answers. So
you tricked me.
I guess a lot of my guests don't know this, but usually I make the C one not. I try to make it really dumb, like increasingly dumb.
Yeah.
And I love when people do those stories where it's like, and that man, like the little boy who failed, and that man was Albert Einstein. Well, I still think you won because you really shared a lot today, and I feel like we all got to win.
Yes.
So as a prize, Brett, you can tell the listeners where to find you, where to follow you, where to watch your stuff.
Cool.
Yes.
What a prize. Check out my YouTube channel. It's called Genuine Jerks.
Mm-hmm.
YouTube.com/Genuine Jerks, just how it's spelled and sounds. And then I'm on Instagram and Twitter at Breezy, BREEZY __F __baby. Utilize those double underscores, people. That's how you can check me out. And come check out Aquaman at UCB. And they have a show in February and in March. Excited. It's gonna be a good show. So
check it out. He's super funny. I'll put it in the description so they can follow you on Instagram. Follow this podcast at Tell Me Anything Pod, and follow me at Larissa T. And nope, not and. Just that's it. Follow that. That's it. All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.